The uncontrolled blood pressure is causing a ballooning of your arteries in your brain, causing an aneurysm in your brain and leading to a bleeding stroke or hemorrhagic stroke. Now let's talk about the risk factors of stroke. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to subscribe and click or hit the like button and the bell button, and you receive notifications when new videos are uploaded. Also, in order for you to subscribe, you got to go down, not on the screen, but go down and see where it says subscribe and click on that subscribe button. Let's go through all 8 risk factors that I've written down here. The first one is your age. As you age, your blood vessels get a little narrowed with age. As you eat and all that, as you grow, there is a narrowing of your blood vessels. It happens with age. So if you took a child compared to an older person, years of eating and all that causes the narrowing of your blood vessels. So you are a little more at risk than a child to get a stroke. So age, especially age 55 and over. The second one is your sex. Males are more likely than females to get stroke. So, I mean, if you are a male and you take care of yourself, it doesn't mean your risk is increased there. And also, your cholesterol level. A higher cholesterol is linked to plaque formation. The higher your cholesterol levels, the more likely that you have plaque in the lining of your blood vessels. Plaque is the fatty deposits. So if you have high cholesterol over a long period, chances are that it is building up also inside your arteries, and therefore you are narrowing your arteries, and the plaque that is formed in your arteries can easily break off and lodge in your brain and cause a stroke. So high cholesterol. And also blood pressure. Your higher blood pressure can also lead to strokes. The uncontrolled blood pressure is causing a ballooning of your arteries in your brain, causing an aneurysm in your brain and leading to a bleeding stroke or hemorrhagic stroke. Or a higher blood pressure, because the pressure is so high, could easily force a plaque to break off from the inside of your blood vessels, and that plaque can end up in your brain and cause a stroke. The other risk factor is weight. So this is the 5th one. Weight. Obesity or being overweight is increases your risk of having a stroke. So being overweight increases the risk of having stroke, and that also is linked to plaque formation or fatty deposits. If you are fat, or if you have tremendous fat deposit in you, chances are that you are also building fat deposit in your arteries, or plaque is increasing in your arteries. And for that matter, being overweight is a risk factor for stroke. Your blood sugar level. If you have diabetes, uncontrolled diabetes, you also have a higher chance of a stroke compared to somebody who is not diabetic. The reason is that diabetes in itself increases your chance of building up plaque in your arteries, what we call atherosclerosis. Diabetes increases that, and it is actually recommended for diabetics to be on some medications that we call statins, because statins have been known to stabilize. They have been known to stabilize the lining of your blood vessels. Also, they themselves also prevent excessive buildup of plaque or fatty deposits in your body. Your common atorvastatin, Lipitor, and stuff like that. High blood glucose increases your chance of having atherosclerosis or building up plaque in your vessels, which can break off and cause stroke in your brain. Smoking is a notorious act that does not only increase your risk for stroke, it also increases your risk for heart attack. And it does this in 2 ways. Well, it could be more, but I'm just going to talk about 2 ways. Smoking thickens your blood vessels. Smoking also increases the formation of the plaque that we all are conversant with now. The fatty deposit in your arteries increases by smoking, and in particular, smoking has been known to increase the plaque formation in the carotid arteries, in the neck arteries, the arteries that are leading to your head, leading to your brain. As you smoke, your blood vessels become thick, and as they get thicker, as you can tell, they are narrowed. And if they are narrowed, then plaque can easily break off and lodge into your brain or into your coronary artery and break the supply of blood to those organs, leading to stroke or heart attack. Also, smoking increases your blood pressure. Smoking increases your blood pressure in itself alone. So we already know that blood pressure, high blood pressure, increases your chance of getting a stroke and heart attack. And you smoke on top of that, your high blood pressure, you're most likely going to have a high blood pressure. And the last one, but not the least, if you are not a person that is active, if you are always sedentary, you are always stuck in one place, you don't move around, always sitting, can sit all day. I know some people sit and work 12-hour shifts, 9-hour shifts, but it's always a good idea to take breaks in between and walk around. Even if not walk, just stand. So physical inactivity also leads to blood stasis, and stagnation of the blood leads to clots, whether in your deep veins or anywhere else. And clots that form do not get restrictions to where they form. They can form in your leg, travel to your lung, what we call pulmonary embolism, killing people instantly. Or they can be locked in your thigh or wherever in your leg, we call it DVT. It could break off from there and go straight to your brain. A stroke, or even to be stuck in your coronary arteries or the arteries on your heart, called heart attack. Physical inactivity or stagnation is a risk factor for people, especially if you are on a higher age, and especially if you are already with other risk factors. Those compound the risks for you. So that is it for risk factors of having a stroke. Now let's talk about how stroke happens, or what causes stroke. So stroke happens, there are two kinds of strokes. There's ischemic stroke and there is hemorrhagic stroke. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to subscribe and click or hit the like button and the bell button, and you receive notifications when new videos are uploaded. Also, in order for you to subscribe, you got to go down, not on the screen, but go down and see where it says subscribe and click on that subscribe button. Ischemic stroke is a stroke that is caused by the blockade of blood flow to the brain cells. One way that ischemic stroke happens, blood vessels that have occlusion, that have plaque or fatty deposits, the fatty deposits can break off and they travel into the brain and cause a blocking of the arteries that supply oxygen and nutrients to the brain cells, thereby causing the death of those cells, leading to stroke. In other words, when brain cells are deprived of blood supply, blood that is rich in oxygen and nutrients, when you deprive that particular side of your brain or that particular group of cells of your brain the supply of those oxygenated blood, then the cells of that particular area where the blood supply is supposed to go begins to die, and that is when stroke happens. The other way is clots. When clots are formed, whether it is from irregular heartbeat that causes clots, or whether it is from a clot that is formed elsewhere in the body, maybe a deep vein thrombosis, a clot that is formed in your leg, in your thigh, in your feet, or even a clot that forms in your lung, wherever that clot is formed. However, the cause was, whether it is due to the inability to move around and stuff, and a clot forms, wherever a clot is formed, the clot, wherever it is lodged, can break off. And when the clot breaks off from where it's initially located and it travels through your blood, to your vessels, and goes to the brain, obviously it can log or it can plug one of those tiny vessels that supply oxygen and blood to your brain, and thereby cause a stroke. So blood clots and also plaque or fatty deposits both go in the brain to clog the blood vessels in your brain and deny them of oxygen and blood, leading to stroke. So that is ischemic stroke. The other kind of stroke, or how the other kind of stroke is caused, is when blood vessels in your brain balloons up and then bursts. We call that aneurysm. It happens between about, I think it's about 15 to 20% of the people who have strokes have this kind of stroke. But it is a stroke that is usually from uncontrolled blood pressure. So if your blood pressure is high, one of the cardinal consequences of that is hemorrhagic stroke. Another way that hemorrhagic stroke can also be caused is when you overuse blood thinners. You know, if you are on a blood thinner, you are taking a blood thinner to prevent you from having a stroke or heart attack in the first place. It is preventing you from having clots. So that is good. That is good. If you overdo what you have been prescribed, then the consequences of that could be a thinning or leaking of your blood vessels in the brain, that also leading to hemorrhagic stroke. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or you have comments, don't hesitate to put it on the comment section. And beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Thanks for watching.